Hi everyone, my name is Manon and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Now I didn't really know how to start my first video or what to do until I came across the newbie tag, and those are just a few questions about why you started this YouTube channel, what kind of books you like to read, and after that I'm gonna talk about some of the books that I've read so far in this year. I think most of the books I've read so far are read in the past 2 months. But yeah, I'm excited so you get like a little bit of an idea of everything that I read. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? And I think for me personally, I just really enjoy reading. I really love it. And in the past year, I've just been watching a lot more booktubers, and I just really enjoy their content and learn more about books and to kind of know what they think or say about it. And I think in this way I kind of wanted to join into the conversation and just share my thoughts on it. Okay, what are some fun and the second question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to booktube? And I mean, I am a white woman mid-20s who mostly enjoys fantasy, YA, sci-fi books, so I don't necessarily in that background have a lot of very unique perspective to offer, but I think we're maybe different than some of the other booktubers is that I am Dutch, so I will definitely talk about some Dutch books or probably here and there Flemish ones. I'll obviously always give the English version of it available, like I always mention that. But yeah, so you'll probably see some of those books come by as well. What are you most excited for about this channel? I think what I'm most excited for is just sharing books and hearing what other people have to say, and yeah, just I think maybe connecting with a lot more people that are also really enjoying books, especially obviously the ones that maybe have very similar tastes or what other people are recommending, or just anything, like just a connection and just building a way of sharing a love for books with other people. Why do you love reading? I think I love reading so much, and why it's always like interested me so much is that, you know, you can like create your own worlds in your head with the words from like a writer and author. I mean, I do really enjoy movies and TV shows as well, but I think they're like the visual picture obviously is already there. So I think in that sense you don't really have to imagine anything. Whereas if a book, you're just reading it and you can create this whole world and outside like what it looks like. And I just always really enjoy doing that. And for me, it always gives like a more imaginative, greater connection between what I am reading and how I feel about it. The next question is, what book or series got you into reading? I don't know if there's like a specific books or series that got me into reading. I was always the kid who had like a book with her and was just reading, like kind of shut off from everyone else. But I do remember like a book that really stuck with me for a very long time and I still love is The Lever the King by Tonke Dracht. I read that when I was around 10 years old, 10, 11, and I just really remember just really loving that book and the story, and it's just this children's book's like kind of an adventure novel, and I think that was kind of the first of its kind like that I've read, or at least that I'm aware of. And I think that's also kind of where my love started for adventure novels, fantasy, YA, later on YA books. And the last question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think there are two things for me. One is filming in public. Like, I do want to make videos where I go outside or where you can see how I go like thrift book shopping or when I go to the library or anything like that. But it does require me to like go outside and film there. So I think that will be something that I find kind of, I'm going to be nervous about doing. And the second one is keeping that conversation going online or just talking to you guys, because I do really enjoy doing it, but I'm someone who, like you, I don't text back. Like, I'm that person. Like, I will read it and answer it and just consistently think about it, but just don't text back. But then, like, think about it at, like, the most inconvenient times. I was like, oh, right, I need text this person, I totally forgot, and then I'll do it in a minute, and then at the time that I can, and then I forget about it. So that's something that I definitely will have to work on, but yeah, so I think those two are like my most challenging things for starting the YouTube channel. Alright, so now we're gonna talk. I've also read some books this year, so I have chosen a few that I kind of wanted to talk about or that I really enjoyed. So this year I read the Shadow and Bone Trilogy and the King of Scars Duology. This was mainly due to the fact that the Netflix show Shadow and Bone came out, because quite a while ago I read Six of Crows and that duology, and I really enjoyed it, and I had Shadow and Bone laying around. I just never really got around to it, but then I heard that the series came out and I was like, this is the time to read it before the series come out. And I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really well done. I think what makes it different from Six of Crows is that the Shadow and Bone trilogy, which was like the first series she wrote in Cruciverse, is more like traditional YA, as in like good versus bad, light versus darkness. And but I enjoyed the story. I mean, you follow Alina. She lives in Ravka. She's this country which they're always at war with their southern border being Shuhan, northern border Fjerda, and in their country they have this kind of rip which is called the Shadow Fold, and it's this giant wall of darkness and shadows and shadow monsters that you kind of can't really pass through. Only a sun summoner can make sure that the fold goes away. And lo and behold, Alina is a sun summoner, so then you kind of follow her story of how she gets trained and everything that happens, all the political things, the war, and you know, with her friends, and how she deals with everything. And I did really enjoy it, and I think why I liked it so much, and probably more so than a lot of other YA trilogies, is because like the world is very fleshed out. Like every country, there's in multiple different countries, and they all have very much their own culture, and you know, religious beliefs and political views, and you kind of read how that plays out to one another, and I did really enjoy that. And then after that, I read the King of Scars Duology, which is you kind of follow characters, a few characters from the Shadow and Bone trilogy a few years later on, and I did enjoy it because I do love Nikolai Lantsov, and I was very excited to start reading his story because I just wanted to know like more of like how they're doing a few years later. Because he feels like now the king of Africa, and possibly more easy into the heart, and then comes also the part that he has all the powers of the truth, and that goes out and kills chickens and eats them. And it's a hard place where they're trying to figure out how to make him better, basically. So you kind of follow the story, and as much I really loved the story, and I did really enjoy reading more about the characters and how the world is doing. It is a series that requires you to read Shadow and Bone, and to a certain degree Six of Crows as well, because otherwise if you would start with this one, you just don't really understand maybe the emotional bonds that people have, or where their sadness or struggle or love for each other comes from. Another book that I read, which we're staying in the YA fantasy thing, is A Court of Silver Flames, and I was looking forward to this book because Nesta and Cassian are one of my favorite characters in that series, and I was just really looking forward to seeing their story. I liked it. I didn't think I necessarily loved it. What I enjoyed about the book was for sure that to see like Nesta, you know, grow and kind of deal with her mental issues. I think to see how she deals with that, and also how she's making friends outside of like the main inner circle that is mentioned in previous books in those series. I think it was good to see like the relationship with her and Cassian growing. I did feel it was kind of extreme. She made it extremely physical, and I think like there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like if it was a little bit less, the point would have been just as clear. So that's a shame, and I don't know if she's gonna write another one, but if she does, I hope to do see more from like Ezreal, but also Lucian and Samlin. And I know the last two are kind of controversial, but I'm just very curious to see like what they're going through or what is going on. I mean, Okay, I go on quite a disorganized ramble here, but what I'm essentially saying is that I don't condone what they previously did or didn't do. I'm merely curious about their state of mind. When it comes to timeline, I just want to know what it means for the Spring Court and its inhabitants now that timeline seems stuck in his beast form. What will their future look like? And I can't categorize Spawn Evolution at all, and I mean, changing skin color overnight to fit the narrative of his changed parentage and then being shoved aside in the following books seems so odd to me. It's problematic to say the least to change someone's skin color randomly, but then also barely include him in the books is such a waste of potential. He might not be the best character, but he definitely deserves better than this. So yeah, it wasn't a bad book, but I just felt like for the amount of pages, it was kind of okay. It was fine. So another book that I read was The Hand of Fatima. This is historical fiction, and it's placed in like mid-16th century in Spain, and you follow Hernando, and he is the son of a Morisco woman and a Christian priest, and his father raped his mother, and that's kind of how he came to be, to say speak. But people know that he's like not fully Morisco because he's blue eyes, so he always feels like he's kind of in between whether he's part of the community or not. And you kind of follow his story from the start of the uprising of Moriscos up until their expulsion, like about 50 years later. And you kind of follow how he, in the beginning, kind of changed, like, where should I align myself with. But yeah, I did enjoy the story, but I think also for this one, it was a bit long. It's a good 900 pages. I mean, the version that I had is a good 900 pages, and I think it was really well written and had a good story, but I think this was like, it was so well researched, and I think that was also kind of its downfall, because this writer apparently loved research. Like, I read some of the author's notes that he left, and he clearly loved to research the subject, and it's so like, you can find that in the book because there's so many storylines. Or so he had like storylines that took like 100, maybe 200 pages to like work through, and then the payoff was like this small little thing at the end, which is like, you didn't need the whole storyline up front to get to this point, and I would have still believed it. Like, it still would have had the same reaction. So yeah, very well researched, love that. Also made sure that I didn't love it that much. I liked the book, but I wouldn't recommend it. So the last book I'm going to talk about is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a self-help book, and although I'm not like a big fan of them, I was very curious because I heard so many people say such good things about it that I just want to give it a try, see if it's as good as it is, as some people say. And I have to even admit, like, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was very well set up. It was really well done. Like, he gives a lot of examples, and also at the end, like, of chapters, he gives a good summary and then gives you tools how to, you know, do this in your own life, create atomic habits into your own life. And I just feel like that's really good because you get very simple tools handed to you that makes it so much easier to actually start doing it. It's just like, you can just do it with like 2 minutes a day, and I feel like that's such a great way. You know, you're not shamed into changing your life, and I often feel like a lot of self-help books do give you that feeling. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it, and I really feel like it's actually a helpful book. Hi, so someone forgot to film an outro yesterday. So it's the next day. I hope you kind of enjoyed my rambling. If you did, just comment, like, subscribe. If you want to get notified when the next video comes up, just hit the notification bell. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. So thanks for watching. Bye.